Welcome to the exciting world of sharks with me, Miss Melanie. Sharks are fascinating fish. But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Why do we even call them sharks? Have you ever heard of the word taxonomy? It's a big word. It's a little taxing to say. Taxonomy is the classification and naming of plants, animals, and bacteria. Before the 1600s, plants and animals were just referred to by their common names. But the problem was, common names can differ based on where you are and what language you speak. This made things very confusing, especially for scientists who are studying these animals and plants. In the 1600s, a Swedish scientist named Carl Linnaeus invented a brand new way of doing things. He created a way of uniformly classifying and naming species. Modern taxonomy has definitely had some upgrades compared to Linnaeus' original system, but his concept is still used today. The system is sometimes referred to as a phylogenetic tree, and it's made up of the following classification ranks: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So what are sharks? Well, before the 1600s and Linnaeus, sharks were commonly referred to as sea dogs. Some species of sharks still have dog in their common name, like the dogfish shark. The word shark most likely comes from the Dutch schork, meaning villain. Sharks are a type of fish. They are in a special fish class called elasmobranchs. They share this class with rays and skates. Specifically, here is the shark's taxonomy. They are in the kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata. This means they have a spinal cord and backbone. Class Chondrichthyes and subclass Elasmobranchii. When you think of a fish, do you think of sharks? Why? Or why not? Well, sharks have gills and breathe underwater, but what makes them special is they aren't made of scales and bone. They are made of cartilage. What's cartilage? Go ahead and feel your ear. Now feel your nose. They feel hard, but not as hard as bones, right? A little bendy. Your ears and nose are made of cartilage. Sharks are some of the only animals that don't have many bones, just cartilage. One bone they do have is their jawbone, which is full of teeth. If you have ever seen a picture of a shark, you may have noticed it has seemingly unending amounts of teeth. Sharks lose up to 35,000 teeth in one lifetime and replace at least half. Here's an up-close shot of some of those teeth, the ones that are ready to go, and extra ones already lined up to replace them. There's even more different types of sharks and shark teeth and shark jaws. On the left side of the screen is sharks that have teeth. On the right are examples of sharks without teeth that are filter feeders. Their skin is pretty special too. When you feel shark skin, it feels like sandpaper. That's because it's made up of teeth-like denticles. Here's what they look like up close. And as you can see, they look different depending on what type or what species of sharks they are on. Most sharks have long, sleek bodies with powerful tails, capable of high speeds. A shark's body is packed with muscles. It also has fins strategically placed on its body to prevent it from rolling over in the water or help it make sharp turns. For example, the hammerhead's unique head helps it change direction very quickly. Plus, the eye placement allows it to see extremely well at all times. However, some types of sharks live on the seafloor and are much more flat, like the angel shark pictured here. The largest type of shark is the whale shark, and the smallest type of shark is the dwarf lantern shark. Sharks have special coloring that help them camouflage from both predators and prey. They often have light bellies, which blend in with the lighter looking top of the ocean. And they have dark tops, which blend in if you're looking down at them, and the darker color, deeper part of the ocean. Just like their sizes, they also have a variety of diets. Most are carnivores, meaning that they're meat eaters. They often have diets of fish, shellfish like shrimp, pinnipeds like seals, mammals like whales, and sometimes other sharks. The bonnet-head shark is one of the smallest species of sharks, and it's also one of the only known omnivorous sharks, which means it eats both plants and animals. Many strange things have been found inside of sharks, particularly great white sharks. They've found old tires, a suit of armor, a polar bear, a reindeer, license plates, an entire chicken coop, bags of money, and even an unopened bottle of wine. The size and shape of shark teeth are perfect for the food they prefer. Long, slender, and pointed teeth are good for gripping slippery fish and squid. Baby shark, doo 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 doo. But seriously, where do shark babies come from? Do they lay eggs or give live birth? First of all, baby sharks are actually called shark pups. And depending on the shark species, there are three possibilities. Eggs are laid like birds, eggs hatch inside the mother and then are born, or the eggs hatch inside the mother and the pups grow inside the mother as well. The last one sounds a lot like how humans give birth, doesn't it? Sort of. Sharks aren't quite that advanced. It's more like the mother carries the fertilized egg, the egg hatches, and then she continues to carry them as they grow. Since shark pups are very vulnerable and easy targets for predators, the third option is the safest for the pups, but much more energy consuming for the mom. Kind of like a kangaroo, except they can't go in and out of the pouch. Are you ready for a pop quiz? Just kidding. That was a lot of information. I think it's time for a craft. Our craft today is making our very own shark jaw. You will need a pair of scissors and a paper plate. Make sure to ask your adult before using scissors. First, fold the plate in half. I used a plate with a pattern on the top, which you would eat on, the side you would eat on, so you can see how I'm folding it. Step 2, cut out a half circle. Step 3, start cutting those teeth. It does not really matter the shape or size. Go nuts, but be careful. Now unfold and you got your very own shark jaw. Great job! Before I became a children's librarian, I used to be a marine biologist. I have a bachelor's in science and biological science with a concentration in marine biology. When I was in school, I used to work at my school's elasmobranch lab. We studied sharks and rays and some of their amazing adaptations. On a previous slide, we already talked about camouflage. Well, at the research lab, we wanted to know how great sharks and rays really were at camouflage. So we set up different environments of different types of light, such as red light or blue light or clear light. We were able to study how fast and how well sharks and rays could camouflage to their surroundings. Another type of experiment that I assisted on was to measure how well sharks could sense electromagnetic fields. Sharks have incredible senses, taste, touch, smell, and hearing, but they can also sense electromagnetic fields. What is an electromagnetic field? Tiny electrical currents exist in the human body due to the chemical reactions that occur as part of normal bodily functions, even in the absence of external electric fields. For example, nerves relay signals by transmitting electric impulses. We wanted to know if sharks could tell the difference between positive and negative charges. We essentially had three groups of test subjects. One group was control, which means we didn't train them at all. One group was trained to be rewarded if they went to the negative charge, and one group was trained to be rewarded at the positive charge. Does that mean we electrocuted sharks? No. These charges are similar to what natural charges fish or squid give off anyway. And the rewards was food. Now, I can't give you definitive results of these projects because this experiment and many experiments like it are still going on with different groups. Scientists like to get results by redoing the same test again and again and again and again. And then eventually they will come up with a paper about the results. And another team of scientists will want to recreate that experiment and see if they get the same results. So it takes a while in the scientific community for new stuff to come out because we want to make sure facts are facts. So although I can't tell you the results of this experiment, I can tell you that the sharks like the training, especially the rewards. Negative impacts of human ecology on sharks. How are we hurting sharks? Next, I'm going to read a book called If Sharks Disappeared by Lily Williams. I really love this book because it emphasizes what a critical role sharks play in our oceans. It also explores some of the ways we are hurting sharks. Sometimes we don't even know we are hurting them. For example, many thrill-seeking tourists will partake in cage diving. They will be put in a scuba suit, in a cage, and then dropped into the water with sharks. Often, the people who operate this type of tourism will chum the waters to get the sharks' interest. In effect, they are regularly feeding sharks and encouraging them to frenzy and be dangerous. This disrupts a wild shark's normal life schedule and behavior. They are lazy hunters and will learn the boat's schedule for easy meals. This also happens with whale sharks. Many countries offer tourists a chance to swim with whale sharks. But they attract the whale sharks by feeding them. Again, the whale shark prefers an easy meal and will stay on schedule with the boat. What's the problem? Many of these sharks are usually long-distance swimmers, but the easy meals disrupt their migration patterns. Much of the whale shark population has stopped their usual migratory patterns that used to have them traverse the world's oceans. Now they stay in the same place and are fed regularly. What will be the long-term impacts? Does that mean we should always avoid sharks? No. Many scuba divers, marine biologists, photographers, and alike interact with sharks on an almost daily basis. They respect them, they keep their distance, and they're also prepared. If they know they are going to interact with sharks, they wear special defensive scuba suits that are made of metal or metal-like substances. Remember, respect sharks and be safe. If sharks disappeared by Lily Williams. Published by Roaring Brook Press, part of Macmillan Publishing. Read with permission. This is a healthy ocean. It's a balanced environment where many different animals and plants thrive. The ocean is home to a lot of creatures. Big, small, slimy, cute, and scary. Sharks have helped keep our oceans balanced for about 450 million years. Over that time, they evolved into the more than 400 different species that exist today. Sharks are apex predators, which means they are at the top of the food chain in their ecosystem, the ocean. Losing an apex predator species can cause devastating effects in an environment. Today, roughly between one-fourth and one-third of shark species are vulnerable to extinction because of overfishing. What could happen if this continues and sharks disappear altogether? If sharks disappeared, the ocean would no longer be balanced. Although different species have different diets, most sharks typically eat sick, slow, or weak prey, leaving the healthy animals to reproduce. If sharks disappeared, the populations of seals, sea lions, and other pinnipeds would potentially explode. At higher populations, they would eat more and more fish, and eventually, once there weren't any fish left, they'd starve and die out as well. If fish and pinnipeds disappeared, plankton, which is what many fish that are lower on the food chain eat, could quickly grow out of control. That could make the ocean a thick sludge. Nothing could survive in this water. If the ocean became unlivable, many species of land animals that rely on the ocean for food, such as seabirds and polar bears, could starve and die out. The loss of these animals could cause still more species farther inland to die out. This pattern of cause and effect, called a trophic cascade, could spread like a wave across countries and continents until animals around the globe were affected, from bees to birds to bears, and eventually to us. All species depend on one another to survive by keeping our plants' ecosystems in balance. And luckily today, sharks still exist. Sharks inhabit all the oceans on Earth. If we remember that we are all connected, and if we work together, sharks and our whole planet as we know it will thrive. And maybe we'll see that what once seemed so scary isn't so scary after all. Sharks are in trouble. An estimated 100 million sharks are killed every year. Most of them are used to make shark fin soup, a Chinese and Vietnamese delicacy. Though shark fins have no taste or nutritional value, they can be sold for a lot of money. So many sharks are killed that roughly one-third of species are now under threat of extinction. Sharks are also killed for their teeth, jaws, livers, skin, and cartilage. These parts are used in dietary supplements, skincare products, cosmetics, and leather goods. Non-selective fishing methods like netting, trawling, where a boat drags a net through the water along the ocean floor, and longlining, where one main fishing line dangles many smaller lines with hooks, also kill large numbers of sharks. Sometimes people even kill sharks out of fear, thinking that having fewer of them in the oceans will keep people safer in the water. The truth is, people are more likely to be killed by a disease-carrying mosquito, a cow, a vending machine, a horse, a bee sting, or falling off their bed than they are to be killed by a shark. How can you help save sharks? You can help save sharks by being a conscious consumer. Don't buy products containing shark in any form, such as shark fin soup, shark squalene, which is shark liver oil, or shark teeth, jaws, or cartilage. Buy only fish that were caught sustainably, which means that not too many fish were caught at one time or in a way that harmed the ocean environment. To avoid the others, check the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch List or its phone app, available on the App Store and Google Play. Stay up to date on news about sharks and know what laws are being passed. Tell your government representatives you want better protection of sharks and marine life. Let them know you want more regulation of bycatch and fishing practices for the fishing industry. Travel to or learn more about the places that support shark education, like South Africa, Australia's Great Barrier Reef, and Bay Tierney Marine National Park in Seychelles. Support causes that support sharks. Get involved with local and global shark advocacy programs, or start one of your own. Tell your friends about the plight of sharks and encourage them to make sustainable changes in their lives. Create shark art. Author's note: the information in this book is a simplified description of a complex process. To learn more, start with the bibliography and additional sources listed at the bottom of this page. I love sharks. I love to read about them, research them, and look at photos of them. I kept hearing that sharks are necessary to our world, but it wasn't always explained why that was. I decided to look into it, and what I found were scientific studies and speculations. So I decided to show why our world needs sharks. The information in this book is based on the best research available and on opinions and explanations from esteemed scientists. While some of the information is just educated guesses about what might happen, those guesses reflect what marine scientists have learned during years of studying the oceans. There is no way to predict the future, but looking to the past can help us understand the impact we could have. And we know for certain that all species are in some way connected and rely on one another to survive and thrive. I hope that this book will inspire you to care about one of our world's fiercest animals and to find ways you can help protect our oceans. Let's save sharks. Thank you for watching The Exciting World of Sharks with me, Miss Melanie. I hope that you will keep reading and learning about sharks.